When you think of fame, what comes to mind? Red carpets, millions of adoring fans, the most luxurious life imaginable? I'm sure all those ring true. However, the deeper we dig, the more the truth starts to feel less like a fantasy and more like a slow-burning nightmare.
Private property.
No, in a sidewalk.
I'm a father of a son.
For Hollywood icons Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, the cost of stardom hasn't just been the erosion of privacy. It's been terrifying, masked intruders, multiple home invasions, and obsessed stalkers. We begin with Keanu Reeves, a beloved Hollywood juggernaut of peace and pure talent that has shined on the big screen for decades.
I am a plain-dealing villain.
In September 2014, Keanu was awoken to strange noises coming from the inside of his home. Startled, he got up to investigate the sounds. When he entered his library, he came face to face with the intruder. Unlike the hostile confrontations in his movies, this one was the complete opposite. The intruder, a woman, displayed an eerily calmness that showed her contention in ruining the star's peace. As she sat calmly in the corner of the library, she began to conversate with the star. Not wanting to escalate the situation, the actor remained calm and spoke with her before briefly slipping away to phone the police. LAPD arrived shortly and brought the woman into custody for psychiatric evaluation. She later confessed to bypassing security by entering the property through an unlocked gate. Only 2 days later, the actor's house was broken into yet again. This time, the intruder was discovered by Reeves' cleaning staff as she prepared herself a cup of coffee in the actor's kitchen. This intrusion was entirely unrelated to the first, but boldly more audacious. Not only had she made herself a cup of coffee, the staff confirmed that she had also used the actor's shower. On top of all of this, imagine how baffled the police must have felt when they arrived to the residence and discovered the woman swimming in Reeves' pool, completely nude. Like the Forerunner, the woman was swiftly taken into custody. What are the chances that Keanu would encounter multiple break-ins the very same year he began starring in a film where a break-in scene would be the catalyst to a billion-dollar film franchise? And quick side note, did y'all clock that the intruder was more comfortable than the owner of the home during the literal invasion? Ain't no way. Unfortunately, those break-ins would not be the last for Reeves. In 2023, a masked intruder smashed their way into the residence. By the time the police showed up, the trespasser had already fled, but not before stealing one of Reeves' firearms. The escalation of aggression with these break-ins is incredibly unsettling. This depicts a disturbing pattern of delusion and a sense of entitlement that we often discuss on this channel. Speaking of entitlement, things unfortunately have only gotten more bizarre for Reeves. The following year, the actor and his girlfriend, Alexandra Grant, were both granted a restraining order after his stalker, Brian Keith Dixon, was caught multiple times stalking the star's residence. Y'all, when I say multiple times, I don't mean once or twice or even 3 times. Dixon was caught on surveillance cameras at least 6 times after Reeves hired private security to catch the perp. And right there, that's when I have questions. Because just imagine what he went through prior to all of this to conclude that he actually needed a private eye to investigate. The security footage only proved that Reeves was right to get help, as the matter was more concerning than the previous disturbances we've discussed. During one of those intrusions, Dixon was caught sleeping on the backyard lawn of the star's home. It seems like his predecessors before him, he too had become comfortable while performing his illegal activities. However, for Dixon, there was a reason for this madness. You see, he had a point to prove, and he was hell-bent on proving it, not only to himself and Reeves, but to his followers online. He had been impersonating being related to the actor with the alias Jasper Keith Reeves. He used multiple platforms to state his point and prove that he was indeed related to the star. Now, whether this point was rooted in truth or in delusion, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to matter. Dixon was hell-bent to prove this relation, and I'm guessing that's why he showed up with a backpack the very next day after getting caught sleeping on the lawn. When security went to investigate, Dixon was nowhere to be found, but the backpack was left behind, and inside they discovered a note, some photographs, and a DNA kit. During the investigation on Dixon, several unsettling facts would be uncovered, starting with his wishes to, quote, sign over his own rights over to the star to be in his complete care. Dixon, whom was believed to have no permanent residence while stalking Reeves, also had a lengthy criminal record that spanned over 2 decades. The courts granted the application for the order of restraint for Reeves and Grant. The order stated Dixon must remain at least 100 feet from the couple. Sadly, Keanu Reeves isn't the only Hollywood star whose private life has been shaken by unwanted intruders. His longtime friend and co-star, Sandra Bullock, was forced to face a dreadful night. In June 2014, Bullock returned home after a long day's work and retired to bed shortly after. While sleeping, she was suddenly awoken to the sound of loud banging. It wasn't just the sounds that were startling, but where she thought the harsh noise was coming from, inside her home. Imagine the terror she must have felt when her suspicions were confirmed when she observed a man in dark clothing walking through her home. Years later, during an interview, she would recall the events of that night. It was the one night that Louis wasn't with me. It was the one night our nanny goes, "Let me just take him to my apartment, which is up the street, because you're going to be out late." The intruder had gained access by jumping the actress's fence and broke in through a glass door. Sandra watched, frozen in fear, as the intruder made his way up to her attic. Luckily, she was able to escape and find safety in a closet behind a safe door. Yes, a literal panic room. And she called the police. During that same interview, Bullock revealed that as she waited in utter terror, her mind would not stop replaying the episodes of shows like 48 Hours and Dateline. Mentally unraveling, she recalled thinking, "This doesn't end well." Though frightened, Bullock remained calm until police showed up. Authorities were easily able to locate and arrest Joshua James Corbett rather quickly, as he was still in the house when they arrived. Upon the arrest, letters of love and obsession were uncovered, revealing his feelings and true intentions for the star. "I love you and Louis, and only want to be a part of your lives," he stated. The letters would not help Corbett's case, as they had also confirmed that prior to the break-in, he had been stalking the actress for days. He continued, "I saw you come home after the AFI gala and only wished I was at the entrance to your heart when you came home. You could have had me today. However, you chose other people over me. I'll be around, as you know. I love you." The letter was signed, "Always and forever, love, your husband." After the arrest, authorities uncovered a cache of firearms in Corbett's residence. All weapons charges would later be dropped, but his actions against Bullock would not have the same conclusion. While Bullock did not appear in court, the 15-minute 911 phone call she made to authorities was present, and it solidified the nightmare.
I walked in my closet, dark sweatshirt and dark pants. Are they clothes?
Corbett's lawyers pushed to have the case resolved by having their client comply with receiving mental health treatments, as they reaffirmed that he had never truly wanted to cause Bullock any harm. However, the judge decided otherwise and determined that Corbett should stand trial on stalking, burglary, and other felony charges. Corbett pleaded no contest to felony stalking and burglary charges and was sentenced to continue mental health treatments and was placed on probation. He was also barred from making any further attempts to contact Bullock for the next decade. However, there would be a shocking twist to this case. In 2018, Corbett missed a court-appointed appearance. This prompted authorities to serve an arrest warrant. However, things would not go as planned. When the warrant for arrest was served, Corbett took a stance and refused to be taken in. He barricaded himself inside his home, and chaos ensued. He then began threatening the lives of the officers on scene, and shortly after, SWAT arrived. But they wouldn't be able to make it in time. 5 hours later, when authorities finally made it into Corbett's residence, he was found deceased. His death was reported as a suicide by the local coroner. Corbett's father and attorney would later shed light onto the tragedy, confirming that Corbett had been struggling mentally, and he, quote, just did not want to go to court, as he was due for a progress report. "It's a very sad situation," his lawyer concluded. Bullock herself acknowledged the tragedy, stating that she, quote, felt sad that the system had failed him. She also revealed that after the break-in, she hadn't fully realized the trauma the incident had caused. She had developed PTSD and sought treatment to finally heal and be free. The post-traumatic stress Bullock was forced to overcome and the escalation of home invasions Reeves was forced to endure are dark reminders of the bizarre dangers of being in the public eye. Behind the glamour and red carpets lies a reality few ever see, a place where admiration can twist into obsession, and where safety is more like a fragile illusion instead of a reality. Imagine being so admired by others that they unknowingly violate your personal boundaries. In fact, those boundaries are only considered in hindsight, at best. And worse, those boundaries aren't considered at all because they simply just don't care. While none of these intrusions were as violently cinematic as the roles they've played on screen, nothing could have prepared these Hollywood icons from being hunted in their own homes.